The Sports Trust continues celebrating 25 years of building active communities through sport and recreation. The various projects implemented during this time also supported the new vision of enhancing education through sport. Garden and Rob Fleming, former chairman of the Trust, reminisce about their experiences.
So I became a trustee of the Sports Trust in 1999 and did 15 years as a trustee, of which 3 were chairmen between 2007 and 2009. So I was the group head of marketing for Ned Bank, and in the Ned Bank portfolio was the affinity products, of which the sports affinity linked to the Sports Trust was one of them. And the concept was really very simple. Client buys a product from Ned Bank, a credit card or a transactional account, normal banking product, and every time they use the product, a percentage of the turnover on the transaction would be donated to the Sports Trust. No cost to the client, it's the bank's money, it's a portion of the bank's profit that was passed on to the trust.
Well, I think what we focused on at the time was uplifting and creating healthy communities through sport. And there were a couple of frustrations I had at the time, and one was that we spent a huge amount of time fundraising, which wasn't really our expertise. And secondly, what I felt was a lot of our projects weren't sustainable, and I wanted to have a sustainable impact and leave us a legacy for the Sports Trust. So my primary thinking is that there's a huge body of research across the globe that demonstrates the huge impact sport has on the impact of education and the impact on academic performance in the classroom.
The Monovision Surf Life Saving Club, based in Mitchell's Plain, is part of the Life Saving Western Province. They train and provide voluntary lifeguards to the communities of Cape Town. In 2006, the Sports Trust donated an inflatable lifeboat as well as essential equipment.
As you know, Monovision is well known for drownings. So the club is doing its best, utmost best, to make sure that we minimize the number of people that drown at this beach.
We managed to recruit youngsters from the community who are at these schools from the presentation, and then right after the presentation we then invite the school to partake in our training session and also training development of life-saving throughout, our community here in Khayelitsha.
Most importantly, we also have the programs where the kids that we are normally providing support in the schools. We also introduce them in the issues of cleaning. Remember, why cleaning is very important for the beach, having a clean beach. It's mainly because of, as much as that we do have a life outside the beach, but there's also another life within the beach where we need to protect it. The marine life is very much important.
I like swimming and I like enjoying myself, and I like to be cool and don't feel like playing in the sun a lot, so I go to the water, and that's where all my stresses goes out. My future is to help people in the sea, and I want to be in the Olympic Games.
My passion working with kids and training and coaching. So I've also empowering it's also empowering the other girls so that they can be able to see that there is a female lifeguard, so therefore they can also join the club and become a NIPOS. So we gather all the children in our communities where we create safe space for them, and then it's also like a sport for them, something they can look up to.
But my overriding memory and the impact that it had on me is that it didn't matter how big or how small, how significant in terms of the range of access that a project had, or how micro and individual it was. The gratitude, the impact that it made into communities that have nothing. So whether you're doing a big multi-purpose sports facility that everybody in the community is going to have access to, or whether you give something as simple as a pair of soccer boots to a single child, the way that face lit up, I've never had something like this in my life before.
I just was never convinced that the impact on the communities was as significant as it could be. And there's no doubt that one of the most pressing issues in South Africa is the state of our education. And there's a strong body of evidence from across the world that of the impact that sport has on education and the results in the classroom. And I felt that with the huge amount of money that's available in the various corporates for education, we could tap into that in a significant way. And so we moved our focus from uplifting communities and creating healthy communities to uplifting education through sport.
I also remember a number of times being thanked for the amount of time and dedication that one puts into something like this. And I always remember saying that the privilege was actually mine, because we've got so much of everything and the ability to give it. And when you see the impact that it makes on disadvantaged communities, communities that are out of the mainstream, you realize that you're giving actually very little, and it's a privilege to be part of it.
Harmony Gold developed Virginia Sports Academy in Virginia in the Free State with the aim of developing sport in the area. In 2002, the Sports Trust upgraded the accommodation facilities on their behalf. Since then, they have achieved a remarkable level of success in both their soccer and rugby development coaching.
All sorts of negotiations started to take place, and that's how we then engage with the Sports Trust through Harmony and their involvement with the comrades at the time. There was two sides to the story. One was the need for the development of rugby and soccer, and specifically the development of black soccer and rugby players.
I've always wanted to be here at Virginia Sports Academy because I know that my talent is playing soccer. So I talked to myself, said I will stay away from those friends and come here to build a better future. I had a lot of friends who put me under a lot of pressure. I did things to impress my friends. I end up regretting what I did.
I've always wanted to be part of the academy. So every time there was trials or every time the academy guys had games and all that, I've always been there watching them play, always wanting to be part of them. And a day came where the Lord has actually blessed me with trials, and that's where I actually got to be noticed. My experience being at the academy, I got to learn discipline. Discipline, skills and book-wise, it actually improved me. So all of that came together by making me head boy at school, and being a leader actually is leading from the front and not from the back. So me being a leader, I don't know, the academy has really just developed everything inside of me and made me a better person. So I feel a lot of people just look up to me just by me being me.
Well, one of my frustrations was that I wasn't convinced that our work was particularly sustainable. We were handing out lots of equipment to different communities, and if you came back a year or two later, there was no evidence of it. And I just felt that if we could take the money that the corporates and the government were giving us, and we could focus on sustainable projects, we would leave a much stronger legacy and have a much stronger impact. And so I said we'd already introduced these wonderful multi-purpose sports courts, which we'd put into a couple of schools, and we started to focus heavily on that. And I'm absolutely delighted that we've installed, I think, about 80 across the country now.
25 years on for the Sports Trust, and pretty much the same length of time into our new democracy, the need is not less, it's greater. And more than ever, perhaps, sport as a way of bringing communities together, creating normalcy in very, very difficult lives and lifestyles. The impact is immediate, and it's a way of getting people to connect and off the streets and into something meaningful immediately.
Traditional horse racing has been an integral part of the Xhosa culture for more than 200 years and serves as an important rite of passage for young boys in the rural Eastern Cape. In 2007, the Sports Trust supported Ngwele village with some essential horse racing equipment, including bridles, snaffle bits, blankets and sweet sheets. Sporting kit and equipment was also provided for rugby and soccer development in the area.
If you see, this area is more rural, and there was time We had to get something that will make sure that the youth is participating. Then we applied through Sports Trust, and then we received some sponsorship. The amount of sponsorship was about 107,000, and it covered rugby, soccer, horse racing, netball, cricket.
Between 2009 and 2011, I was at the age of 11, that's the one thing that I'm sure about, and there was a tournament here, and at that point in time I just started playing the game, and I just gotten used to playing the game, and I was playing against guys that are 13 years old. And for us, what we always try to do, we always came here because sometimes there can be 30 teams to 35 teams, and we came and watched all the main games, and for us, we idolize the people in our positions. And for example, now our current coach here at the Hungry Lion, Singatam Vai, he also played here, was a good player for many years.
All corporates, whatever their contribution to an NPO, NGO like the Sports Trust might be, however substantial it is, it's actually a small drop in their broader CSI, CSR environment. And if they could only come along to some of these projects and see and experience that impact firsthand, I've no doubt, and I'm sure that this program will highlight some of those projects and activities and successes that have been had over the years. Everybody should be supporting an initiative like this.
A huge congratulations to the Sports Trust. For an organisation to be as healthy and robust and as relevant after 25 years is a huge credit to you guys. And I feel really privileged to have made a contribution to the Trust during its time.
Every day, through every single project, the Sports Trust, together with its trustees and donors, continue to give all South Africans a glimpse of their limitless potential by enhancing education through sport. In our final episode, we interview Jackie Matebula, the current chairman, and Anita Matthews, Executive Director of the Sports Trust, as they share their insights, experiences, and vision for the Trust going forward.
Of all the more than 250 projects that the Sports Trust has implemented, we have had excellent audit outcomes.
The Sports Trust has put in facilities across the country with the notion that it will just not be used for sport, but for other activities too.
Join us for the inaugural Sports Trust Virtual Cycle Challenge on Sunday, 11th October 2020, and be a Sports Trust hero, helping us to raise funds for our communities. All ages are welcome. Use your road bike or mountain bike and cycle with your friends and family anytime on that day. Choose your distance of 5, 20, 50, or 108 kilometers. Enter online at www.cricket.co.za. Entry fee is 50 Rand per person. Terms and conditions apply, and please adhere to your COVID-19 protocols at the time of the challenge.